This story is about the INXS album, Live Baby Live. The entire thing. I know most of my stuff is about one song specifically, but this tape kind of just did it for me as a whole. This tape came out in the middle of my INXS addiction. Yes, I had all the tapes, including the weird early ones that with pretty bad songs on it. I wasn't one of those fanboys who would talk to their friends about how great this song was or that song was. In fact, I never really remember talking to anybody about my musical cravings. I kept it all to myself. It just seemed to me that people wouldn't understand my musical cravings at that time. In retrospect, it's probably because of my tendency to collect and accumulate everything of a subject that really catches my passion, and INXS fed that. It all began with the song Devil Inside. Now, there was a song that really spoke to me at a very specific time in my life, a time when I was consumed with a seething rage. It wasn't explosive. I wasn't having screaming fits at random strangers or anything, but at the time my brain would absorb the details of those around me, ranging from my mom, teachers, or even a stranger that bumped me on the street. My brain would formulate arguments on both sides and try to figure out where to put that tidbit of information in the conversation that would do the most damage to that person, where they would emotionally break down. I'm not proud of that time of my life, but the rage probably kept me alive. The line, words are sharper than knives, really resonated with me in that thought process. It seems to force a realization that songs didn't have to be dumb, catchy, meaningless music. It could actually be intelligent. And at a lonely time in my life, it felt like it was written and performed just to me. So I started collecting all the INXS I could find. The big popular tapes were very easy to get, like Kick, Listen Like Thieves, but it didn't really expand my collection very much. There wasn't that many INXS albums released, but it always felt to me that I was missing a hidden gem. The early music took quite a bit of digging through the Kmart discount bins, usually buried at the bottom of the stack of the Returno Bruno tapes. Yes, that lovely tape made by Bruce Willis. He actually recorded music, and I shamefully regret that it was in my collection too. The Live Baby Live tape felt like a big deal. It was the first tape that I had owned that came with a cardboard container. The package contained the tape, a little booklet with miniature pictures from the concert, a concert that in my own brain was unknown to a big super fan like me. Records in the 80s always had pictures and lyrics and stuff in the album, but this was the first tape that I had ever remember having a similar concept. The release of the tape was heavily promoted. There were posters of the album cover in music stores and even easy listening in classical sections. Maybe they were trying to convert those people to the Australian way. Walking in the street in the downtown area usually had cover art plastered somewhere around. And DJs on the radio, boy did they ever push that album onto the masses. They were very, very aggressive too. Maybe they got a cut of the sales or something. It was a concert album with a few new songs sprinkled in. The new songs were supposed to be the big draw. I mean, you could flip through the radio at almost any time of the day and hear a new sensation. And that song had come out years earlier, but it was that popular. It had never been the driving force to people buying the tape, but to me, the new songs, they were the selling point of the entire thing. And you know what? It wasn't even really that good. In the end, surprisingly, it was the live stuff that really just grabbed me and held on to me. The audio recording was so good that it felt like it was actually there. The music audio was mixed perfectly with the crowd cheering, and you felt like you were surrounded by other crazy people just like you. Obviously, I'd never be able to see an INXS concert anywhere, much less in another country. These recordings are actually put together from several concert dates that the INXS had that summer. Doing my research for the story, I never knew that. I honestly thought they just put a tape recorder behind the stage and let it go. I think that's why I fell in love with really good concert albums. It transported me to a version of events where I'm screaming along with the music, where doing it in public doesn't get you looked at funny. The small differences in the song, pauses, audience shoutouts, all made me believe that I was enjoying the feeling and energy of the performance right in front of me. It was almost like a communal thing. I'm not a social person in any meaningful way. I'm constantly looking for an exit. I may not like it, but my mind always needs to know the easy way out. And I've been to a few concerts that have gone pretty well. I mean, I like the music, even though the sound quality in my ears of a large crowd is obviously never as good as the studio version. Evanescence is a big band for that. Their studio stuff is beautiful. Their live stuff, not so much. And I get very frustrated when I'm in a crowd and I feel like either I'm enjoying something too much or not enough compared to those around me. I'm just a nut that way. But my wife and I got tickets once to a Finger 11 concert in our town. And well, it was fun to get out for the evening. It really was. And Paralyzer was very, very popular at the time. So having the opportunity to see a band like that was pretty special. The place was packed. We did think it was weird that, for whatever reason, they were offering headphones for a price to the people entering the venue. I mean, I thought we were supposed to hear the music. I mean, if I wanted to hear crappy audio, I could listen to a weird copy of the tape at home. But there was something wrong with that sound guy. I mean, he turned the amps up to 11. After the concert, our ears were ringing for days afterwards. I seriously thought about going to the hospital because I was worried I was going deaf. Perhaps we should have really bought those headphones, but $20 seemed a little much. The ringing dissipated eventually, and because of that experience, so did my love of any Finger 11 songs. Even Paralyzer lost its luster for me. I still have the tracks from the opening act, though, The Envy. They reminded me of the good times at that concert. They were really, really good, and their sound guy was on game that night. The other guy, the guy getting paid by the big band, he must have been drunk at the wheel. Live Baby Live took a band that I'd already liked and made me feel like a roadie at their best concert. I'd succeeded in hiding backstage, hearing the music, the ambient sounds, and the weird ramblings of the band. It still brings a smile to my face when I hear Michael Hutchinson gleefully singing about how he has no pants on. And that is how INXS helped a scrawny kid like me figure out a way to hold his own in a fight. Words are sharper than knives. It seems, more true today than it did back then. But I don't think I have a story explaining how INXS were prophets of the future. I hope you enjoyed this story that fell out of my head. If you've ever gone deaf because of a concert, please let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear the details. I'd also like to know that I'm not the only one with my ears ringing. As always, please like and subscribe as well. Until next time.